Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome to Chrono Chord Music and our review of the brand new Dr. Dre album, Compton. Along with my co-host C-Dub, my name is JC. C-Dub, I cannot believe it's been 16 years since Dr. Dre released the masterpiece album, Chronic 2001. Many didn't know whether we would ever see a release again from the godfather of gangster rap. The rumored Detox album was in limbo for many years and apparently has been shelved in favor of Compton, a record inspired by the biographical NWA movie Straight Outta Compton. The album was released exclusively through iTunes and Apple streaming services, as you would predict because of his huge deal with Apple and their purchase of the Beats by Dre line. Now, C-Dub, let's start with the album cover. It looks out over LA from behind a sign that's very similar to the famed Hollywood sign, but the sign says Compton. What do you think about the album cover?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's really Dr. Dre's love letter kind of to the city that he's from, to Compton. And, this was something, as you said, that kind of came about unexpectedly. Here for all these years, all of us fans have been salivating for the Detox album. It's almost taken on a Chinese democracy-like mystique about it as one of those albums that we thought we might not ever see. And it looks like we might not ever see it, because here we are with Compton. And I gotta say, I had some expectations in mind for this album, and I think that Dr. Dre, he didn't quite meet them, but then again, he did exceed them in many ways. As far as my expectations, I kind of expected those classic Dr. Dre sounds, and there wasn't a lot of those, but it was definitely an album that you can tell is Dr. Dre's. It's really the evolution of that whole West Coast sound that Dr. Dre pioneered. One of those great things, speaking of pioneers, Dr. Dre is going to donate all of the royalties from this album, Compton, to create an arts center in that city for the youths who live there and perhaps inspire the next generation of hip-hop moguls.
Yeah, what a class move by Dr. Dre there. Big ups to him for that. Now, going back to your comments on him pioneering that West Coast sound and how this is an evolution of his beat production, I really hear more of a digital sounding sonic template with this record. A lot more electronic textures, chopped up drum fills and such. Hearing these new production techniques seep into his sound, he still retains that old West Coast vibe, but overall it's a nice blend of old and new West Coast hip hop.
I think it's really a good time capsule of where the Dr. Dre sound is in 2015. Like we said, we saw 16 years between this album and his last, so it's really kind of unfair of me to go into it with expectations of it being similar to 2001 or to the Chronic. But I think it's similar enough in the right ways to where it's starting to grow on me. I mean, we're recording this one day after release, right about 24 hours, and it's really starting to grow on me, man, I gotta say.
Yeah, C-Dub, this album is definitely grown on me too. Some of these songs have been in my head all day long. I did notice that there's a lot less usage of sampling on this record that is evident to my ear, at least. I'm sure some samples were used, but back in the day, the frequency of samples in these songs was quite often, and now I'm hearing a lot more authentic instrumentation in these tunes. It's good to hear Dr. Dre rapping again as well. I think he's an underrated rapper. I've always liked his rhymes, even if he doesn't write them all. C-Dub, who are some of the other featured vocalists on this record?
Well, we had quite a few new artists here that Dr. Dre has been mentoring. We have King Mez and Justice right off the bat on number 2, Talk About It, as well as throughout the album. Those are two proteges of Dr. Dre's who I expect to use this feature on this album, hopefully to break out, much like Kendrick Lamar has, who is also featured on the album. We see some of Dre's old buddies, including Exhibit, Ice Cube, and Snoop Dogg, as well as Eminem on number 15, Medicine Man, which Eminem, right back to old form with Dr. Dre, absolutely kills his verse on that song.
Now, the one West Coast rapper / singer that I'm really missing on this record is Nate Dogg, who passed away a few years ago. He was one of my favorites on the old Dr. Dre album, so really missing him here. I thought he would have fit in very well. Now, on the production end of things, we know Dr. Dre is the genius behind most of these beats here, but C-Dub, some other producers helped out. Who was featured here?
Yeah, Dr. Dre is very hands-on, as we know, with his production. He is a meticulous producer. He pretty much shelved what was the Detox album for this because he said it wasn't good enough. Dr. Dre went right back to the drawing board with other producers, some young up-and-comers. We had DJ Dahi, who has worked with Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Bink, who worked on Blueprint with Jay-Z, was on number 4, It's All On Me. The production duo Best Kept Secret was on number 6, Dark Side/Gone, who they're most noted for working with one of my favorite rappers, Wale. And then we had the most notable, perhaps, DJ Premier on number 14, Animals, Legend, one half of Gangstar. All of the greats have worked with Premier, and it was great to have him on this album. Dr. Dre surrounds himself with talent and positivity and people who know how to get in there and work. I believe Dre actually addresses that lyrically a few times on this album as well. That was a pretty common theme lyrically, is that Dre is all about the positive energy, get it done, no excuses, let's make this as great as we can. And I love it, man. I think everybody involved did a fantastic job.
We've both listened through this album a couple of times now already, and I know I have a favorite track or two. C-Dub, what are some of your favorite tracks on Compton?
I have to say the number one that stood out to me was For the Love of Money, number 12. I love the Bone Thugs sample. Jill Scott is a fantastic vocalist on hooks. John Connor, this new protege of Dr. Dre, really shines vocally. Big fan of that song, as well as number 6, Dark Side/Gone. I really liked the chord progression on the second half, Gone. And I like how Dr. Dre meshed 2 parts of a song together in Dark Side/Gone. And it had some fantastic bass in there as well. JC, what are some of your favorites from this album?
Well, my main favorite so far, dude, would have to be number 8, Issues, featuring Ice Cube. Really nice to hear him on record again and not in the movies. And my other favorite would have to be number 9, Deep Water, featuring Kendrick. Just really like the vibe of that one.
As did I, man. I thought it was very intense. Super fat kick drum on that one. Now, JC, kind of to wrap this up here, our discussion of the album, I want to pose a question that I've been asking myself since the first time I finished this album. Is this going to be Dr. Dre's last album? Is this it?
Well, we know the response is going to be huge, so there's not going to be a question of, will people want to buy another album from Dre? It's just going to be, does he have the motivation to be in the studio for a year or two or more and really refine his beats and production? I think he will probably come out with one more record, a full-length record on his own at some point. So it's more of a creative decision, but at the very least, I hope he does continue his collaborations with up-and-coming rappers. All right, wrapping up our brief review here of Dr. Dre's Compton album. Let's give it a letter grade, C-Dub.
I'm going to give it an A-. I hate to slight the doctor like this. I think maybe if I were to do another review maybe in a month or two, I'd probably give it a higher grade, but this is one of those things that it takes time to set in. It's going to take a little bit of time to grow on me. Thus far, I like it. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to stack up in the long run historically next to Dr. Dre's first 2 albums. That remains to be seen. JC, what would you grade this album from Dr. Dre? Does he pass or does he fail?
Oh, there's no way that Dr. Dre can fail in our books, man. But I'm going to have to go 1 letter grade below you, give him a B+. At times, the album loses a little bit of consistency. It starts out pretty good, hits a little bit of a lull. By the time it hits tracks 6 through 9 or 10, I think that's the peak. And it kind of goes slightly downhill from there. Although the songs are great, the last few didn't really catch my ear as much as the other ones did. But all in all, a great effort. And like you said, albums take a while to grow on you. And I'm sure in a month or two, the reviews will be more glowing. Couple of these beats will certainly be making their way into my mix reference library.
No doubt I'm going to be bumping these all over the place, everywhere I go. Fantastic job, Dr. Dre, everyone else involved with this album. Everybody out there, make sure, don't just download it. This is going to a good cause. Get out there and buy it. All the proceeds are going to an arts center in Compton. Help out the youths there. Guys, thank you so much for listening to our review of Dr. Dre's Compton. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and check out some of our original music available at chronochord.com. right here on YouTube, also on SoundCloud, and if you'd like to follow us on social media, find us on Facebook and Twitter. For my co-host JC, this is C-Dub. West Side!